Welcome back, Questers! It's good to have you here again. Previously, in our phenomenal quest for fundamental truth, we discovered that we, as human beings, have the power to change ourselves and the things around us for the better. We also learned in this journey that transcendence is a state of existence or experience above and beyond the normal or physical level within ourselves. Then, we realized that transcendence opens up our mind and allows us to use our creativity in imagining the possibilities that go beyond the physical and material limitations of our existence. And lastly, we discovered that transcendence makes us realize that we can use our strengths to transform our weaknesses and achieve our desires. Good job, Questers! Another case closed. But I have another case for you. Get your pen and paper and brace yourselves, because our phenomenal quest for fundamental truth continues. You see, our trace evidence collection kit is empty again. You know the drill. For us to continue in this phenomenal quest, we need to collect some essential items. Let us find the following: a magnifying glass, a flash drive, a mobile phone, and your self-learning module in philosophy. Great! Now, let us go back to what we need to solve for today. How do humans deal with their environment? What is natural order and environmental disorder? How can we organize the things we notice that are not in order? This sounds interesting and timely. What are you waiting for? Come with me as we explore, discover, and continue the search for truth. I am Teacher Jossa, your detective maestra, and this is the 8th episode of the Introduction to the Philosophy of the Human Person. Have you noticed the changes in our environment? Have you observed the weather in your place? Yes, you are right. The environmental flow is changing. It is hotter during the summertime now. Typhoons are getting stronger. Floods are occurring more frequently. And our surroundings, they are more polluted. Do you still remember how Ondoy brought several months' worth of rain in just 12 hours? Who would forget how Yolanda washed away the properties and even lives in an instant? And just recently, it felt like it happened all over again when Ulysses struck many places, devastating communities and causing major damage to property. These catastrophes have brought about a lot of tragedies, destruction of property, loss of lives, and suffering. Although these are natural disasters, which means that they are not man-made, the common underlying cause of all these major disasters is still the negligence as the human stewards of the environment. Have you ever wondered what happens to the things you throw away? Do you even think of the effects of these acts in our surroundings? If not, it is time for you and all of us to reflect on these things. As the popular saying goes, what goes around comes around. It simply reminds us that there is always a consequence for every action that we take. Congested drainage systems, improper wastewater disposal, the spread of diseases, and various kinds of pollution happen due to the insensitivity of humans towards our environment. Aside from the waste that we are creating, the inefficient and negligent use of natural resources like fossil fuels and water also add problems to the degradation of Mother Earth's situation right now. Human beings, as stewards, have to show utmost care and concern for the environment. The future of Mother Earth is within our reach, and it is our responsibility to do those things. But how can we address and prevent these existing environmental issues? In this mission, let us discover different views and perspectives on how humans deal with the environment. Environmental philosophy is the discipline that studies the moral relationship of human beings with the environment and its non-human contents. Philosophers believe that the human person has the ability to change the environment to suit his purposes. This means that as humans, we interact not only with our fellow human beings, but also with other living and non-living elements within our environment. Humankind plays a vital role in our society, and as such, they are interconnected and interrelated to each other, meaning everything and anything we do is a reflection of what will happen in our environment based on our actions and actuations. I am sure that we can find something here that could help us further understand environmental philosophy.
So when we talk about environmental philosophy, there are a whole range of ideas about relationships in the environment, no? Specifically in terms of ethics or the beliefs, whether this is right or whether this is wrong. No? So the first is anthropocentrism, or what we call as that the human beings as living things are at the center or important in the beliefs about the environment. So man or women or people are believed to be in the hierarchy of the environment, that they have the power, or they can extract from the environment, no? So they are the ones who have higher thinking skills, therefore they can take charge of the environment. Now, the second one, there are two which are both opposed to anthropocentrism, which is the biocentrism and the ecocentrism. So when we talk about anthropocentrism, we're talking about people or man. In biocentrism, you're talking about living things, no? That living things take precedence over everything else in the environment. So the third frame in environmental philosophy, we're talking now more about ecocentrism. So this is in a perfect world where everything is considered in the environment. Not only the people, not only the living things, but everything else. The trees, the sky, the ground, the soil, no? So in the moral philosophy of ecocentrism, it's important that to think about the earth, ecosystems, and the larger environment. In ecocentrism, it's not only humans who can decide to destroy the forests or the mountains, no, or the trees, but in ecocentrism, we want to consider what is the impact of those kind of human activities on the larger environment. So let's give some examples, no, when we talk about these concepts or frames. So anthropocentrism, that man or people are at the center of the environment, they're more important than everything else. An example here is the destruction, for example, of our environment, no? Whether overmining, no? Mountains are lower and lower and the mud is flowing, no? For whose profit? So that's very anthropocentric, that people are allowed to do this because it helps earn income, which is a problem. A second example now for biocentrism is all living things are important. Not only people, but also things, whether in land or in the water. For example, when you go to the beach, no, you see all these starfish. Oh, ang ganda-ganda naman nito. Uwi ko pang decor sa bahay ko. No, because these are living things, they should just be left there. Okay? You just look and take pictures, but don't get any of these things on the beach or even sand, no? Don't get this. Okay? So that's biocentrism. You're talking about the living things in the ocean or fish. And the last one, ecocentrism, an example of this is that you consider everything, the air, the land, the seas, no? So everything is important, not only people, not only living things, but even things which are you find in the environment. Because when you talk about the environment, it's a whole living system. It's a whole living body, you know. And the air you breathe, the kind of transportation you use. For example, a good example here is using public transportation in a perfect world is much better than riding alone in a motor vehicle, private car. Why? Because it affects the pollution or the air, no? And in public transportation, more people can get to places by not using fossil fuel or gasoline.
Wow, that was very informative. It is a fact that the environment provides us with a space to live in. It also gives us the raw materials we need for our livelihood, like food and other basic necessities. This just proves the unique connection that humans have with the environment. This leads us to our focal point number 1. Focal point number 1, humankind is a part of the world, and we significantly affect our environment in the same way that changes in our environment affect us. This means that people can help solve environmental issues. We can apply our philosophical investigation aesthetically to appreciate nature better. But how can we aesthetically organize the things that are not in order? How can we even say that they are not in order? Let us understand as we go further. Banawi Rice Terraces, Boracay, Camarines Sur, Batanes, Palawan, Sagada. They are definitely beautiful, right? Why? That is because they are in their natural order. What is natural order then? The environment, as believed by philosophers, has its natural order, which means they have their built-in arrangement that belongs to them inherently and according to the very nature they possess. Simply, natural order means that nature will continue with its activities with or without human intervention. Examples: rain pouring, rivers flowing, sun rising and setting, fishes swimming, birds flying and chirping, and many more. It is in this orderly manner that human beings grow best. But according to Heraclitus, a great philosopher, the world is constantly changing, and we cannot help but notice that these changes have transformed our environment quite often in a disruptive way. These are a reflection of what we call environmental disorders. Environmental disorder occurs when the natural order of things is disrupted. And in order for us to help in maintaining the natural order of things, we have to apply and use environmental aesthetics. Aesthetics is equivalent to beauty. When we talk about aesthetics, we are simply talking about beauty. According to the Routledge Encyclopedia of Philosophy, aesthetics is the field of philosophy that studies the ways in which humans experience the world through their senses. It is specifically concerned with the appreciation of particular objects as they strike our five senses in a pleasing manner. For this reason, aesthetics frequently focuses on works of art and other similar objects that are explicitly designed for human sensory and satisfactory enjoyment. However, aesthetic appreciation is not limited to art. It is frequently directed towards the view of the world at large. This is the world that surrounds humans in their day-to-day existence that constitute our everyday environment, the world in which people work, play, and live in. Environmental aesthetics, therefore, extends beyond the narrow limits of the art world and beyond the appreciation of works of art. Environmental aesthetics focuses on philosophical questions concerning appreciation of the world as a whole. Also, environmental aesthetics is a philosophical view that believes that maintaining order in the environment will bring out the natural beauty of their surroundings and contribute the well-being of the people and other organisms living in it. This answers the question earlier and leads us to our focal point number 2. Focal point number 2, we can aesthetically organize the things that are not in order by simply putting them back in their proper places. We conducted a social experiment to see how people would react to a situation where environmental aesthetics is concerned.
Hoy ate, bakit mo naman ginawa yun? Alam mo bang mali ang ginagawa mo?
Ano naman sa'yo?
Hindi sa kung anong sinasabi mo na kung ano sa'yo. Ano nga rin ba sa'yo ang kapaligiran?
Ano naman niya sa'yo?
Tapat kasi namin itong pinagtatapunan mo. Wala ka sa area mo. Alam mo bang masama yung ginagawa mo?
Ano naman, trip ko eh.
Wala sa trip-trip yan. Paano kung sa amin yung basura mo tapon namin sa'yo?
Dami mong dada.
Kukunin mo din naman pala.
That was incredible! And as what we just saw, there are still people who show appreciation and care about keeping the environment sound, beautiful, and clean. Hello! I just want to ask you, what can you say about the social experiment that we just did? How was the experience?
It was really fun yet fulfilling. It is a quite difficult task at the same time. At first, I was not convinced that our social experiment will succeed, and based on my observation, only a few people really cares about their surroundings. But it turned out, well, as somebody ultimately responded and showed her utmost concern for the environment.
Oh, that was good. But what did you realize after the thrilling social experiment?
It made me pause and reflect for a while, realizing that we as a human beings have the sole responsibility for all the things that are happening in our surroundings, including those disasters and the devastation that have happened in the past. Also, it is a reminder and a must for all of us to take good care of our environment. This means that we must use our natural resources responsibly.
You are absolutely right. Thank you very much, Junior Detective. Kudos for doing a great job.
Thank you, Detective Maestra. I am Jossa Sanko, always at your service.
And that is a case closed. Today, we learned that environmental philosophy is the discipline that studies the moral relationship of human beings with the environment. Also, we realized that humankind is an integral part of the world, and we significantly affect our environment in the same way that changes in our environment affect us. Then, we identified that environmental aesthetics focuses on philosophical questions concerning appreciation of the world as a whole. And lastly, we learned that we can aesthetically organize the things that are not in order by simply putting them back in their proper places. I hope you had fun while learning today. Thank you, Junior Detective, for helping us in fulfilling our mission. We would also like to thank everyone who showed interest in becoming one of our junior detectives. Ooh, who's calling me? Hello? Okay. Okay. Thanks. Bye. As expected, we have another case yet to be solved. So, see you again next week. I am Teacher Jossa, your detective maestra. Stay with us and together, let us continue the phenomenal quest for fundamental truth.